Hello everybody, welcome into a brand new episode of the Truth Serum. Joey the Truth Wagner with you on this Friday night. Tonight the Pirates lost the opening game of their three-game series against the Philadelphia Phillies 6-1. It wasn't pretty. The game was tied after 6 innings, 1-1. And after that the Phillies poured it on. Bryce Harper had an RBI single in the 7th. To give the Phillies the lead for good. Then the last 2 innings were just completely putrid. 8th inning, Gene Segura beat Kyle Crick to the first base bag on the 13th pitch of an at-bat to get an infield single with the bases loaded that made it 3-1. And then in the 9th inning, the wheels completely fell off as the Phillies got a run scored on a throwing error by Clay Holmes, followed by a wild pitch by Clay Holmes. Then another run coming in on a double allowed by Clay Holmes. So the Pirates lose tonight 6-1. They fall to 45-51 on the season. They are currently 7.5 games back of first place in the NL Central. And they are now 5 games back of the wild card in the National League. But everybody, tonight's episode is more than just about tonight's game. It is something that I have been thinking of for a while. Something that I think the Pirates should have already done. But tonight sealed my theory on that. But before I get into that theory, tonight's episode of the Truth Serum is being brought to you by SeatGeek. Awesome place to get your tickets to go to baseball games, football games, hockey games, tickets for anything. If you use the code Joey Wagner, JOEYWAGNER, you'll get $20 off your first order. But here it is. Pirate fans, this is a real heart-to-heart tonight. So make sure that you're sitting down while I'm talking about this. Well, everybody, it has been a long 4 years since the Pittsburgh Pirates have made the playoffs. The last time they made the postseason was 2015 in the wild card game against the Cubs. They lost it 4-0 to Jake Arrieta. But ever since then, the Pirates have been trying to go after that playoff high, and every single time they have fallen flat on their face. What management has been trying to do the last 4 years is that they've been trying to field an average baseball team, slightly above average baseball team, around a 78-82 win club. These words came from Pirates general manager Neil Huntington last year. They try to field a club that is on pace to win about 78-82 games. And they hope that a thing here, a thing there, a thing everywhere, everything goes perfect and falls into place, and they turn into an 88-90 win ball club that makes the playoffs. The Pirates have been trying this for 4 years now. In 2016, they were 78-83, won 78 games. In 2017, 75-87, 75 wins. Last year, 82-79, 82 wins. And so far this year, with tonight's loss, they are 45-51. So all of those years, 2016, 2017, 2018, no playoff appearances. And this year, unless they can turn it around, it's not looking that it's going to be that way either. It's going to be another missed playoffs. But what they have been doing for the last 4 years, I can describe in 3 words. It's not working. Being average and trying to hope for everything to fall your way, from career years from your stars to career years from free agents, it's not working. It's not working. And in this decade, everybody, there has been a plan that I have seen work 3 times that has resulted in 3 World Series championships, 4 World Series appearances, and a handful of other playoff appearances. And that way of doing things, it gets a bad rap, but it actually works, and it's called tanking. Let's look through the archives of tanking in Major League Baseball this decade. Let's look at the Kansas City Royals. In the mid, late, and early 2000s, they were terrible. They tanked and tanked and tanked. Kept trading veterans for prospects. Kept getting picks at the upper part of the draft, getting elite talent. And they did that. In Kansas City, they came out of their tank. And in 2014, they made it to the World Series. In the next year, 2015, they won the World Series. So Kansas City effectively tanked, got value for anything on the roster, got lots of young pieces. They all came together up at once, all played in the big leagues at once, and they had a great team. A World Series winning team in 2015 also made it to the World Series Game 7 in 2014 too. That's number one case study. Let's look at our second case study. The Chicago Cubs. Early 2010s, they were awful. They were bad. For about 3 years, they were really, really bad. And with that, they were able to accumulate a lot of young talent. Remember, Chris Bryant was a number 2 draft pick. Javi Baez was a top draft pick. A lot of the Cubs' position players that they got were because they were tanking. Bryant, top of the draft. Baez, top of the draft. They got Addison Russell in a trade with the Oakland A's because they were, trying to get younger. The Chicago Cubs, Wilson Contreras as well. And many other pieces. But the Cubs were bad. They got talent. Brought it all up to the big leagues. 2016, they won the World Series, and they have been a playoff team every year for the last 4 seasons, and probably 5 this year. That's case study number 2. Here's another one. The Houston Astros. I saw this one up and close because they used to be in the National League Central, the division of the Pittsburgh Pirates. They were... If you thought the Royals and the Cubs were bad, the Astros took their rebuild to a whole nother level. 3 straight years of 100+ losses in the major leagues. And they got all of this talent. Alex Bregman, Yuli Gurriel, Carlos Correa, George Springer. I mean, talent everywhere. And they used this talent to build themselves into a World Series champion in 2017. And it looks like they are competing again for another title this year. One more case study of rebuilding, folks. The Pittsburgh Pirates. You might be thinking, the Pittsburgh Pirates, yeah, a long, long time ago, they were in a rebuild too. Early to mid-2000s, that decade. Pirates had 20 straight losing years. They were in a 20-year rebuild. But with Neil Huntington and Clint Hurdle, they finally got it right. Got Andrew McCutchen, Neil Walker, Pedro Alvarez, Garrett Cole. A lot of good young talent. And they made the playoffs 3 straight years from 2013 to 2015. So even it worked for them. But friends, what the Pirates are doing right now isn't working. Being okay and hoping for the rest and wishing on a well and a miracle is not working for them. The Pirates, if they want what they have been saying publicly, which is a 6th World Series banner to hang in PNC Park next to 1979. This is the way to do it. Liquidate all the assets on the big league roster, except your cornerstones. Be bad. Get a lot of high quality, high upside prospects. Don't get major league ready pieces that aren't as good. Always take the better prospect, even if it means they're in AA or single A instead of AAA. Bring them all up. Have a young, cheap core that you have for about 4 or 5 years, and go get your World Series title. That's how it's done today in sports. I mean, look at the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Pittsburgh Penguins have won all 5 of their Stanley Cups because they knew how to rebuild and knew how to tank the right way. Got Mario Lemieux, Crosby, Fleury, Malkin, and Jordan Staal all at the top of the draft. Cornerstones of their championship teams. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers even did it right back in the 70s. Got Mean Joe Green, Terry Bradshaw, and a bunch of Hall of Famers at the top of the draft. Their tanking turned them into a dynasty. But that is the way to go, folks. This is what I would do if I were the Pirates right now. Before the trading deadline, I would absolutely trade Jordan Lyles, Corey Dickerson, Melky Cabrera, and Francisco Liriano. Because those are your pieces that are up at the end of the year for their contract. And at least 3 of those players you'll get some sort of return for. The other 2 players I would consider trading for the right price. And I wouldn't give them away. But for the right price, I would trade Starling Marte and Felipe Vasquez. LA Dodgers, I'm looking at you. You want Felipe Vasquez? I've read the reports. I've seen them. Give us Alex Verdugo and three of your top 4 prospects. You want them? Gotta pony up. Pay for them. And this is what I would do next year, everybody. Next year, I would see if I could get any value for Keone Kela and Chris Archer, if they're pitching well and healthy. Get high-end talent for them, too. There's really only a couple of players on this roster that I would make completely safe. If someone called and said, we want Gregory Polanco, and they gave a competitive offer and a trade, I would trade him too. Really, the Adam Frazier, you want him? Right deal, bye. But really, the only players who I would not trade off of this roster is Brian Reynolds, because you still have him for an amazingly long time in control. Brian Reynolds and Josh Bell. I would even trade other bullpen pieces. Right offer for Crick or Richard Rodriguez, see ya. But the only 2 pieces, well 3, that I would keep. Jamison Tyone, Josh Bell, Brian Reynolds. Reynolds is under control for so many more years that he'll be around when you're in that winning wave. Josh Bell, you need a face of the franchise, even in lean years. That's why I keep him. And I'd keep Jamison Tyone to have a solid pitcher at the top of the staff. But even if anyone offered the right deal for him, I'd consider that too. And before I sign off, everybody, there was one more team in their rebuild that I forgot to bring up, and that was the Cleveland Indians. Indians were not very good in the early 2010s. But they got their core of Kluber and Lindor and Ramirez and Trevor Bauer and Mike Clevenger. And they got all the way to Game 7 of the World Series against the Cubs in 2016, and they've been a playoff team the last couple of years too. Rebuild is the way to go. in sports. Rebuild is the way to go. If you're average right here, you're not good enough to be all the way up here to win a title, and you're not bad enough all the way down here to get the top talent you need to get up here. So if I were the Pirates, I would sell, sell, sell. Get your phones ready, Neil Huntington. Get on the phone, and let's do some dealing. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Truth Serum. It wasn't one of the more rosy ones, but it was a heart-to-heart, honest talk that we had to have. And this is called the Truth Serum. It's not called the Lying Serum. Sometimes the truth can be hard. And that's what it is right here with our Buccos. And I'll say this, everybody, this Pirate team this year, the players they have, I absolutely love them. I love that they are so gritty. They will battle to the very end. They have made comebacks this year that I thought were not possible. And if there was any team over the last 4 years that I would love to see do something special, it would be this group. But it's not working. As always, everybody, please click that like button. Please subscribe to the channel. And as always, please leave your comments down below in the comment section. For the rest of the great crew here, Joey the Truth Wagner signing off. Good night.